Hello, welcome. If you are new here, please subscribe, click the notification bell. If you're returning, welcome home. This is Spade Parkland. Today we are talking Diddy. Did he do it? Did he not? Yes, he did.
Game over.
Diddy has been having some bad days and bad luck, and I say good. I do not like gatekeepers. If you've been following me for a while, you know I've dealt with gatekeepers for a while I was opening my investment holding company. And the problem with gatekeepers is that they publicly will say they're trying to help people, they're trying to bring people together, help people start businesses, this and that, talking about the entertainment business, when in actuality, the gatekeepers are preventing people from having careers and they're making people jump through hoops. And Diddy was no different. There was a lot of stuff alleged about him from people wanting to come up in the industry and stuff that he wasn't really actively involved in, but you had to allegedly go to a freak off, do a couple strange things for some change to be able to put your music out there, to be able to be signed to a label. And if not, you were put on a shelf. There's been a lot of negative things said about Diddy, and people have said that his time has finally come, starting with Cassie suing him. And that's when the feds started to build their case around him. And he was indicted on sex trafficking, racketeering, and kidnapping. And this was September 17, like 10 days ago. He's a criminal defendant in a trafficking, racketeering, and kidnapping case after a grand jury indicted him. Diddy has been charged with 3 counts: racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in selling of one's body. From 2008 to present, members of the Combs enterprise allegedly engaged in trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of selling one's body, coercion, and enticement to engage in selling of one's body, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. So basically, RICO charges. Wow.
D's nuts.
And the purpose of the Combs enterprise was to operate a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries. The purpose also includes preserving Diddy's power and fulfilling his personal desires, especially in relation to his gratification, including through the exploitation of women and the use of commercial workers. So these are some pretty serious charges. And some would say that the people who helped him exploit others, helped him with his enterprise, that they're victims too. And I will say this much. It's kind of equivalent to slave massa back in antebellum slavery and the role that slaves had over other slaves. So you could say the house slave, you could say the field slave, but pretty much there were slaves that were put in charge of other slaves. Now, the slaves put in charge of other slaves, they could have made things easier for the other slaves. Most of the time, they made things harder. However, you look at it, the slaves put in charge of other slaves, no matter what they did, that was cruel, as far as including telling on people for trying to escape, helping people get whipped, punishing people, doing things as if they were the master themselves. The argument is that that slave or those slaves who were over other slaves, who were just as evil as the massa, they were slaves too. That is true.
Deranged, blocked, dragged, get shots taken at me.
So people like Young Miami, maybe even Cassie, and in regards to Kim Porter, they too were victims, and everybody will have a chance to give their say. I'm sure all of them will be paraded through court. And some people will say, well, you did this, you did that to me. And they'll say, well, I was a victim too, because if I didn't do it to you, it would be done to me. The indictment mentions the now famous freak-off parties, calling them elaborate and produced performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. The indictment alleges Combs lured women into his orbit under the pretense of a romantic relationship, then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended acts with male commercial workers. And the women who were involved, maybe even Cassie as well, allegedly, maybe even Young Miami, allegedly, they more than likely lured people in, promising things. And of course, when they got there, they had stuff dangled in front of them. And if they didn't do what they were asked, they had their career ended or halted. He paid for stuff. People got used to him paying for stuff, being threatened with being cut off if they didn't perform stuff. Is really elaborate. After the freak-offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. The indictment does not include details on the kidnapping allegations other than they occurred in California, as did arson and bribery. As for the drug charges, they allegedly involved the intent to distribute narcotics, including cocaine, oxycodone, Xanax, GHB, the date grape drug, the MDMA, and ketamine. The indictment references what was seized during the raids at Diddy's homes in Beverly Hills and Miami. Various freak-off supplies, including narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant.
Pays to win, still loses.
They also seized firearms, including 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers and a drum magazine. I'm willing to bet that the government is the one that released the 2016 video, which shows P. Diddy assaulting then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and an altercation that matches some allegations in the now settled lawsuit. So, yeah, the world is coming down, and rightly so, it should. Because, again, he's a gatekeeper, he hurt people, and he unfortunately manipulated others to do his bidding. So the indictment also includes allegations of violence against women. He's alleged to have assaulted women by striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. And it references a March 2016 indictment or incident at a LA hotel captured on video. And this is clearly referencing the Cassie incident. Prosecutors say in late 2023, following public allegations of the crimes, Combs and his associates would pressure victims and witnesses, including through attempted bribery, to stay silent. Diddy's son King and Justin were in Lower Manhattan outside of federal court, awaiting their father's appearance before a judge. He was denied bail. If convicted on all accounts, Diddy faces decades in prison. There's even been talk of facing life in prison, and his attorney says he's going to fight like hell. That's his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo. He failed in getting Diddy released on bail. So he was arrested at Park Hyatt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan, and he was supposed to turn himself in. Sources have said that he was arrested right before being turned in so that there could be justification for not getting bail. Because I believe what they're trying to do is a war of attrition. They're going to keep him in there locked up, have him blow through money, break him financially so that they can manipulate Diddy into telling and testifying against others. Even though the government has the videos of the freak-offs, they pretty much have all of his assets, all of his things from his homes. There may have been things that he had hidden outside of his homes that can be used against other people, maybe even himself. So I believe that's what it is a war of attrition, because once his money starts to bleed out to where he doesn't really have any resources, it's more than likely his attorneys are not going to be working as hard. And Diddy will be more inclined to perhaps testify against others, explain how he set everything up, and maybe even helping them build cases against other celebrities and maybe even politicians. So Homeland Security, they're the ones that swooped in and took Diddy into custody. So the fact that Homeland Security is involved and not just the FBI means that Puff Daddy knows some stuff that more than likely, in my opinion, where it's some really high profile politicians, where if what they did on these tapes or what they did as far as what Diddy knows were to see the light of day, then that would affect the homeland or America. That's crazy. So it's bigger than just simply a couple of freak-offs and him being a gatekeeper. We're talking about stuff that is almost like terroristic. There's different reports of people have gone to law enforcement, made claims, and then those claims went away or the investigation didn't go anywhere. But for the fact that Homeland Security is involved and doesn't trust the FBI to handle things, this is very, very bad.
That was sus.
So, yeah, just Homeland Security being involved. A lot of people are not talking about that aspect. They're kind of focusing on Cassie, focusing on different players in the entertainment industry. But when's the last time you heard of Homeland Security getting involved in something that wasn't we'll just say terrorism. That's how big this is. Diddy's lawyer says that Sean Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and proven philanthropist, yada, yada, yada. However, most people who have done interviews, they tell a different story. Let me know in the comment section your thoughts. Thumbs up the video, share to your social media, subscribe, click the notification bell. I'm Spade Parkland. Thanks for watching. Go forth, do great things, and I'm out. Peace.
Spade Parkland.
Use my cash app card when I cash her out. Shoot her 250 on the cash app, then I ask her out.
Cash app, what's your cash app? Cash app, what's your cash app?
Get on your Cash App, $
Spade Parkland.
We're going to start getting some work done, family. So please get them donations in. Get them in. $.
Spade Parkland.